Ladies and gentlemen, you see the fly through. That means that we are about to find ourselves on some good old Zarqwa hydroelectric. Lando and Study joining you guys for this series. Hope you enjoyed the top 10 as well as that vocab. Jay, I'm getting older. I'm a father. I don't even know what people are saying nowadays. But here we go. OpTic Texas, Minnesota Røkkr. The king is going for a swim off the rip and what will be his final season opener. Here we go, buddy.
We got two players going for a swim. Look at the route that Shotzzy just hit to get all the way behind Dome. He finds that first kill. Minnesota are going to start off with this initial time, but Shotzzy already causing problems. The spawns are now going to flip. OpTic thinking big picture early on, and that's exactly what they're going to do. Only 4 seconds off of this P1, but OpTic, great job of flipping those spawns for P2.
And that's just the annoying part, right? If you're Røkkr, man, in that situation, you start off with preferred spawns, a few water routes get hidden, and just like that, things start to flip on their head. However, on the opposite side, it's Minnesota. Spawns flip. That's okay. They're still walking away with those seconds. By the way, take a look at the bottom right side of your screen. We've got one player from Minnesota that is narrowly snuck behind enemy lines. It's going to be Afro. Caught out, hunted, and dropped. Røkkr 22-0 start. OpTic Texas with spawns.
OpTic Texas do have spawns, but these spawns can be very, very sticky if you start losing a couple of these gunfights. But that's going to be 3 dead in the feed. Full control right now in favor of OpTic Texas. Now it's on Minnesota. How do we want to set up on this break? We're going to send 2 through Dome side. We're going to send 2 to Broken. We just have to start off with that initial gunfight, and Bance finds the first.
It's really just a matter of waves. Great work from Bance. That's going to be 2. Afro with the third. The SMG duo doing great work. Take a look at the player cam, Jay. Afro, he's just having a ball. With not a single carry in the world. Afro and Bance are lighting them up.
Final 20. Finally, Afro's going to be able to get taken down. But now if you're OpTic, you have to run all the way across the map to try to win some rotation gunfights. It's Minnesota. They will have the lead. Not for long, as OpTic are going to take it right back with that full setup for that P3. You see how far pushed up they are towards Dome. Full control on this left side. Knowing that OpTic are consistently spawning in towards the back. Trace going back and forth, and that's a big kill right there from Shotzzy to find that nade kill. Now they can attack this from the front.
Yeah, that opens things up for OpTic Texas. Not a great start for your primary ARs on this OpTic Texas team. However, tried and true, they roam to the front. Bance as well, somewhat paused, but it's okay. Røkkr, they're just composed. That's how we're going to label it. If you jump in from the front side, but Røkkr ultimately will walk away with the trades. Job done. And ultimately, Jay, it comes back to that last kill that we saw. Røkkr do a great job, and they continue to punish the boys in green on the other side of the map now.
And this is where you have to just cut your losses right now if you're OpTic. You do not want to be aggressive on this and potentially flip these spawns. But they do get a couple kills out towards middle courtyard. 5 P1. They're still trying to not give up all this time. They know that their teammates have the spawns for next. Can they try to get them off of this remaining time? So they will not put themselves in a hole down 40. But currently a 30-point game. All about this rotation towards P4. Scump finds another one with the M4. Great kill from him, but Minnesota fully set up.
It's a little weird, man, to see Scump right with the AR in his hands. Who knows how long the M4 will be with us, but at least in the short term, it's cool to see that man go back to the roots. AR currently working out quite well for multiple players right now on OpTic Texas as they hunker down here at the trail. It's just P4 down by just a slim margin, especially if we're talking about hydroelectric. They can definitely start to get back in this game. Player 6 yet again in Afro trying to hit the long route. We'll see if it pans out for him. Ultimately handled and dealt with. Nice wave cleared there out of Texas.
This has been a great hold so far from OpTic. Even with them giving up that dome control, they maintain Broken the entire time. They're basically leaving Bance to himself. You're not going to take us off this point. We're not going to contest it. We're going to be able to get this full 60, take the lead right on back. And you already see in the mini-map, look at what Shotzzy's doing. He works his way all the way through low water. He's going to be behind that P4 hard point. I mean, P5, which is going to be generators. What does he do to these spawns? Look at where they're spawning all the way at red. So now you get the information if you're Cammy that some player is in the back.
Honestly, Jay, I'm seeing new parts of hydroelectric that I just haven't seen yet. Like, I'm looking about how far back that you can go, and just like that, spawns will flip from OpTic. They jump on in, and take a look at that feed now, partner.
Beautiful break right there from OpTic. It all sets the tone right there with Shotzzy. Once he takes that map control of the back, you allow your teammates to get a little bit more aggressive. They win every single gunfight in the feed. That's another 3 dead. You have Shotzzy again in that position, all the way pushed out towards P1, forcing them all to consistently spawn behind Broken. Minnesota have not been able to get a kill for quite some time. Look at the team tree right now from OpTic.
That is a 12 team streak granted right now for the boys of OpTic Texas. And really, buddy, it just comes off that one play. Like, that's what we're talking about. In MW2, on this map specifically, you hit one route and take a look at what it does to the score. The early success grants him from Minnesota Røkkr as the first of the rotations come to a close. It is all but over. As now we fly back toward P1. Minnesota saw a decent amount of success this time. When we started off on the first side, we'll see if they can do it again as both teams back and forth we go, trying to keep track of where everyone is. We'll also try to hold on to those spawns as well.
Oh, well, OpTic, they did a great job of just hitting that route. The combination of Shotzzy and Dashy were able to trade that gunfight in towards the back of P2. Now they have the favorable side. And if you're OpTic, you just don't want to give up a lot of time to allow Minnesota to get back into this game. Final 30 seconds. Shotzzy with the route. Able to find one. Able to find two. Know that a player is going to be towards top dome. Dashy finds one. They still know that Bance is top dome. Shotzzy's not going to give it up. He's going to go for the chow. He gets all three. What a route from Shotzzy.
Routes, and more routes. Shotzzy going off right now for the squad. The M4 in hand, and they are looking primed and pure. Currently in this game, let's step aside and go through a listing with OpTic Texas.
I'm trying to bump low. Now push
Top. You stand up.
Go slay dead.
Oh, I got needed.
Yo, buy me time. We might flip. Wait.
Yo,
One's top still. Top dome on you. Hurt. He jumped down. He's left side. Yo, front Afro. I'm hopping time. I'm on.
Watch out.
Low dome. I'm here. I'm here. Yeah, hold the one guy. Lay down.
We're guys top castle, Cammy. Top castle.
Hold this one guy. Top castle, Cam. One shot. I naded top castle.
Try to get
I'm needed. I got naded in the back.
We have
Yeah, he's on time. We might flip.
Oh shit. Hit the roll there.
Yep. I naded it. I'm needing all with you guys.
I'm already top boulder.
I need it. He should be dead. Yeah, I hit it. Right corner.
I'm good.
I'm in there. Top dome. Dead.
Yo, one guy's mid lane. Watch out.
That's
I can go top.
I can bump you guys.
I'm gonna take a long ass right left here. Alright?
I want top rocks and ripping for you guys. I don't see anything outside.
Yeah, I can bump you in a second.
I don't see shit, guys. I don't see shit.
Try to left.
You bump me?
I'm going all the way around.
Okay, bump me in mid lane. Can you bump me? Top up window. He's not challenging. Top up window. I'm mid lane right now. He's laying down close left.
I'm pushing the back right now.
He's laying down close left mid lane.
We're top.
I saw him in lane.
What's deep back on the engine?
Here. Top, he's top 100%.
One's back right engine. Just try to flip the water up in front.
Overall, man, I tell you what, really nice check-in there with OpTic Texas. Deal with a bit of adversity, but still in the driver's seat when we talk about this opening game number 1 here on HyDra. One voice that's especially nice to hear, Jay, though, is going to be iLLeY. Back in this squad, they rely on him so much as they try to go for the break. Minnesota handle business. But as we said, man, those comms out of OpTic Texas, fiery as ever.
Yeah, comms, especially in this game overall, better be on point because there's no red dots on your mini-map. So
that's
you
right.
got to make sure you're keeping track of players, knowing exactly where everyone is, how you want to break it. Everything right there was on the right side for OpTic Texas. Just unfortunately, they couldn't execute a break. A full 60 hold right there from Minnesota to get themselves right back into this game. 10-point game. You see the water routes already coming in from Bance. Dashy trying to be the player to watch it, but OpTic are going to be initially off the start.
Take a look at good old Benjamin Bance, Mr. Sneaky. Okay, hold on. Okay,
Can't shoot.
There is no way that he manages to just slyly stay under the water like that. This is absolutely interesting, to put it lightly, my friend. Water battles after water battles. We got routes being hit. OpTic Texas just a few moments away from reaching that double century mark. However, the new addition in Afro had a pop-off moment earlier. We'll see if he can provide us with another one yet again as Minnesota continue to have that door slammed in their face. And there goes Marcus as well.
Oh, big kill right there from Attach, though, to catch Shotzzy off that rotation, because Shotzzy, so far this map, he's been the route man. Every single time they're looking for a player, Shotzy's the guy that's breaking their setup. So it's good to take care of him right off the rip. 50-point game currently. Minnesota fully set up for this P5 generator hill. OpTic trying to attack this from front. You have one player in iLLeY, already hops up through side water. He gets taken care of. So now all of Minnesota, they know where the pressure's coming from. All they have to do is just pre-aim up, hold your irons, get your kills.
How many times have we heard players say that in scrims so far throughout the season, Jay? Hold your irons, right? They can't really slide anymore. I mean, I guess Shotzzy probably still can, but okay. 2 responded either which direction is Afro and Cammy trying to hold it down for the squad. Scump's still here. A few close spawns from OpTic Texas are granted, so they are right back in business. First wave cleared from Røkkr, but an accidental team kill ends up working out in a trade. Minnesota still with time, and Shotzzy's eyeing up what could be a route with Deddy.
Yeah, this is big 20 seconds. Big 20 seconds for OpTic Texas to pick this up, knowing that they're going into a P1. They don't have the favorable side towards Dome. But iLLeY already hitting his best. Michael Phelps swimming his way through every single one of these bottom rock tunnels. Attached to find a kill, but iLLeY's going to be the guy to watch. You have one player in Bance going to be the guy to pick him up. He does exactly that. So Minnesota take care of the guy that's going to potentially break their setup. But now no one's watching left. You can attack this from middle alley if you're OpTic.
That's exactly what they're going to do, Jay. They're thinking long term. They're thinking, but trying to make the long route happen. Nice little dive up there from Shotzzy. Hello, peekaboo. Goes right back in the water. Just 8 more seconds needed still from OpTic. They've got somebody in the hard point. Closest player there is going to be number 8 in Cammy. Shotzzy lined up and ready to go. A few more seconds, and this one is done. OpTic Texas walk away with a solid Game 1 victory here on HyDra.
What a great first hard point between both of these two teams. Obviously, Minnesota, they did a great job every single time at that P3 Red Hill. Full 60s back-to-back, but both the times that OpTic hit the early rotation towards P2 and P4, P4 was usually where they got a lot of success. They forced all of Minnesota to try to attack it from the front. That's not going to be easy to do if you're on the side of Minnesota. They watch the lanes of players trying to attack through that water side. Once you take care of them, that's the route man. Now everyone else is forced to flood the front. They were doing a great job of just picking up kill after kill. And just look at the king, man. His final season, he comes out with 2 minutes and 35 seconds in hill. 27 and 17. Oh, let me tell you, he made a statement in map number 1.
He absolutely did, man. He is putting the whole league on notice. This may be my final season, but I'm going out on top. And we take a look really at the very beginning stages of this HPJ. It was Røkkr who started off with preferred spawns, but instantly it was Texas going for the water routes. You could tell this team is well practiced on a map like this one.
Yeah, they did a great job of just knowing where their money hills are. For P2 and P4, you need to make sure you have back row control. They made sure they did that. And then the one break that they needed, the one break was at that generator hill when Minnesota were already off the rotation, but they allow Shotzzy to hit that low route through low water left side. Finds that opening kill, allows his teammates to eventually get into play, and that's when we seen OpTic Texas really go on that team spree. Like 13 of 14 kills with no one dropping. That's where they were able to grow this lead. When you allow a play like that to happen, that's when the game can get away from you. Minnesota played great. Afro had a great performance with that SMG in hand, but some of those rotation gunfights, you can't allow Shotzzy to hit those routes, win that gunfight, because that, in this game of Modern Warfare 2, will break your setup.
It absolutely will, man. And honestly, dude, it's really refreshing, like it is, to kind of point out, to reference, yeah, this was the play. These two situations, these little moments ended up defining the game. And OpTic Texas, they hit the routes, they make the plays, they grab the spawns, and they walk away with the Game 1 victory. It's time to put those sunglasses and snorkels away and prepare for some good old aBeZy. I don't know, man. Like when we come into this search and destroy, you know, obviously we had smokes. Now we no longer have smokes. Yeah. We still have a sniper. A lot of things lately that have been coming up, really dramatically affecting how aBeZy is going to be played for us today.
Yeah, overall in search and destroy, I feel like without having smoke grenades, we saw it on that map number 1 of Fortress in the very first series. It's very, very tough to get out of a couple of situations if you do not have a smoke grenade. But playing a map like aBeZy, it's not going to be any easier because you have to cross to both bomb sites on your attacking rounds through the middle of the map. And you know that Dashy on that side of the map, at least for OpTic Texas, is going to be running that sniper. And the opposite, it's going to be attached. So for me, I feel like on attacking rounds, that's the way you're going to be able to win this game. Because usually on attacking rounds, you take control of that B side as long as no one drops off that cross. A lot of nades come in, a lot of stuns come in. But as long as you take control of sign towards B side, orange side, towards that top AC, you get that bomb down immediately. You watch your flanks, you watch your hallways. And that's the way you usually are going to be able to find success. If you can sneak out a defense by simply shutting down their B push, that's going to be a huge play as well.
Yeah, man. I mean, like I said, a lot of different strategies that instantly get changed up based off of the weaponry, the tacticals, the utility that you're going to have walking into this game. And really the biggest thing that we could reference as well, Jake, coming into this search destroy. I know we technically don't really have any stats to go off of, but hey, OpTic Texas last year, same team coming into this title. Great at S&D. And I feel like that's really the biggest focal point for Røkkr traditionally, as we know, right? Unbelievably talented at S&D. I forget the numbers that the Nables was bringing up on the desk earlier, but this is a mode that you rely on if you're Minnesota. And last year, OpTic Texas, they were formidable when it came down to these game 2s and game 5s in Search and Destroy.
And I think, like, even though we always call iLLeY like the in-game leader, the S&D guru for this team, I feel like when iLLeY went down for this roster last year, that's when you saw the other 3 players hit a whole different level in Search and Destroy.
That's right, yeah.
Shotzzy maintained the #1 overall S&D KD with an SMG in hand at a 1.15 throughout the entire year. You know what Dashy's going to do. He's going to basically shut down an entire lane. Shotzzy's going to be a nuisance throughout the middle of the map. Scump's the king. He's most likely going to get his. And when you add iLLeY back to the mixture of this team, it's all about the organization. Now, that's the thing that really scares me going into the Search and Destroys, because OpTic, they were the same exact team last year. You're going up against a Minnesota Røkkr team who are brand new. You have to develop new strats, get trustworthy with each other, and just hopefully get comfortable. And hopefully they had enough time in the practice mode to try to bounce back in the series to tie it up at 1. Because this is a series, this is a map and a mode that they need to win.
Yeah, you cannot afford to drop this game 2 Search Destroy here on aBeZy if you are the Minnesota Røkkr. I think they've got some pages, some stats, maybe some notes referencing as we get ready to jump into this game number 2. But one thing too, Jay, you and I actually had this very same situation last year. Major I, OpTic Texas versus Minnesota Røkkr. It went all the way down to a game 5, round 11. It was Minnesota who didn't just take the game 5 Search Destroy, but also took the game 2 S&D as well. We've said it's been their bread and butter, and if they're looking to replicate the same success they had last year versus this very same personnel, it's going to come through modes just like this one, as we're seeing all of the maps in the map pool right now, buddy.
You see the Call of Duty team packs all on sale. I'm wondering, everybody in the Twitch chat right now, let me know who you're rocking, because I'm not going to lie. You guys know I'm a New York guy in and out, but that LA Thieves skin is crazy. Yeah, I know for this series, I know who they're rocking. But I'm thinking, overall, what is your guys' favorite skin? Because all of them are pretty sick.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm rocking LA Thieves right now myself, just you know, for a few different reasons. Anyway, we'll go and toss that to a side. Game 2 Search Destroy loaded and ready to go. It's actually iLLeY. He's gonna have that sniper here off the start. Røkkr kicking things off here on the attack, and it's not just one snipe, it's gonna be 2. aBeZy, lots of long lines of sight. Both teams utilizing that to their advantage. Attach strikes first. Texas, they've been bringing it down to a 3v3.
Make it into a 3v3, and right off the rip, you saw Minnesota. No one was crossing B. They're not going to give up anything. They're going to fight this through office side, through bathrooms, through hallways. Try to at least work a pick. They find the first kill onto Shotzzy. Great shots from Bance to take down Scump, forces it into a 3v2. So now this opens up the map for them a little bit. They can decide to cross towards A, knowing that iLLeY is the player with the sniper. But not every single angle is going to be covered. You just want to get some information. Afro does exactly that. Now it's a 3v1 on the opposite side.
And you can see really for Dashy and iLLeY, they're just trying to contain this Røkkr trio over toward the tennis court. You had one on one side, one on the other, and now they may look to try and group on up. iLLeY, let's sneaking his way through. He's going to get the better of Bance. And now we've got ourselves a 2v2. 35 seconds on the clock, and here comes dead silence.
Dead silence, a big play for iLLeY. Just trying to work his way through back planners. You know how it's safe. They're going to play towards office. He gets taken down. Now it's all up to Dashy. He does find Afro. So now in the 1v1, he does have dead silence right back in his pocket.
Only problem, though, is where Cammy happens to be hiding right now. He knows where it's planted for. He's got to be toward top office, toward top PD. Cammy is going to know the timing. Goes for the challenge, and unfortunately there for Dashy. I mean, pokes out for a second, and how about the snipe coming in from Cammy? We have to watch this one again. Put some style on this final kill cam.
Beautiful jump shot. Nice shot right there from Cammy. Beautiful offensive route right there from Minnesota. No one crosses. They find that first blood. They keep the numbers in their advantage. Eventually, they get the bomb down, turn it into a 2v2, but Afro finds that big kill onto iLLeY, at least forces it to a 1v1. And Cammy had all he has to do at that point, simply just play the clock. Only about 15 seconds left. You know Dashy is definitely going to be looking for that kill. Wastes enough time to eventually hit that jump shot, secure the first round.
Be attached, watching the cross. Cammy as well. We've got double snipers right now for Røkkr. Afro with the M4 in hand. It is all long-range weaponry, and Afro is cleaning up two. Nearly makes it a third, says a nade, says a prayer. Nearly has that hat trick to quickly start off this round number 2. And speaking of 2, Jay, that is all that OpTic Texas have left.
2v4. Palm is going to be down towards that sign area. You know that Afro is super aggressive, at least towards your planners. What kind of information can iLLeY pick up with this snipe in hand? Afro's ready for the gunfight. Can't iLLeY hit the shot? He spot the leg. Unfortunately, Afro with the better angle. Gives him 3 on the round. Attached with the great positioning towards white bands. And Minnesota Røkkr. So far looking flawless in the search and destroy. It was all about the aggression right there in towards orange. You know how aggressive you need to be towards B, because if you get that bomb down immediately, it's very, very difficult to try to retake it. Afro says, nope, not going to give you guys a shot. Pushes right through orange, finds that first blood onto Shotzzy, trying to get bomb down. Does not stop the aggression, gets Dashy. Also gets iLLeY on the round to give him the hat trick. Great defensive round right there from Minnesota.
It is the World Cup, you know, time after all.
It is the World Cup.
Trick, all kinds of different soccer references. I know I said soccer. It is what it is. By the way, I called out 2 snipers in that last round. I think it was actually just 1. My bad. Attach with that M4 in hand. Honestly, in his hands, it looks like a sniper from time to time. Cammy tagged up, but not dropped yet. Texas, really, Jay, just looking to find some bit of semblance when it comes down to this S&D. They have not been able to strike a W so far to kick off this game, as they are all colluded really toward that middle side. Cammy still with sniper in hand. Scump, no big deal. Doesn't have to look at explosions. He's cool like that. Still hanging out. Snipers ring out. Same thing can be said for the tacticals. Bance nearly takes a tumble. Yet for anybody to strike, that quickly changes. First blood of Røkkr.
Big first blood to take down iLLeY. Now at least gets the position. You know what, the sniper is going to be down, but do they know the positioning of Shotzzy? He did pop his dead silence to get in this position. He's going to be able to cause some problems. Finds the first. Going to go for the challenge on the second, and that's what Shotzzy does best. 2v2.
He also tosses out a stun. Make sure that he's checked. Cammy right around the corner. Shotzzy really doing this all by himself. I have no idea how he is still alive. By the way, 10 seconds left. Minnesota have got to get moving. Bomb is going to be planted down successfully. Attached with some great cover fire. It is all going to be on to Shotzzy. It started with him, and it's going to have to end with him. An ace needed. 30 seconds to go.
30 seconds. That silence is about to get activated. He does have it to work with. Just gonna pop it. Know that at least a player is gonna be sitting towards top AC. Goes for the chow. Cannot win the gunfight onto Cammy. What started off as a great round for OpTic Texas, especially when Shotzzy gets that positioning. Minnesota do not worry at all. They even up the numbers, make it a 2v2. You basically flop the side of the map, because usually when you're planning towards B, you want to maintain office control. They planted on the back side this time. Attacks works his way back towards top steps, towards back office. Finds that kill onto Dashy. And then at that point, it's a very difficult round to run if you're Shotzzy, even if you have the dead silence pop. They have the crossfire set up. Minnesota definitely coming out on point in search and destroy.
Yeah, we expect this team to be great in this mode. OpTic Texas, one of our best in Vanguard. Not looking like it right now. Dolphin dives are inbound. Thankfully for Shotzzy, he is able to escape, but Cammy continues to be a nuisance. Shots exchanged either way, and how about Shotzzy, man? He dolphin dives through tennis, plants the bomb down, and now finds himself at the backside of the opposition. Røkkr quickly having to turn around. Thankfully for them, they have, in fact, found not just that first blood, but they're also on the defuse. OpTic Texas has no eyes at this bomb, and before they even know it, Røkkr are there, and this round is over.
Minnesota just played that beautifully once again. Cammy gets the information of where iLLeY is. They know that Shotzzy already crosses on bomb. Pretty sure Bance just drops strictly from top AC right onto the bomb site towards corner of sign and just sticks that defuse. But I think the most important kill that really happened right there was the way that Cammy just finessed Shotzzy. He knew that Shotzzy was spraying and praying from that bottom back alley and not pick up the kill, and eventually he doesn't have a pistol to work with. Eventually, he has to go for that reload, challenges it at the perfect time, takes him down. They stick the defuse, and Minnesota Røkkr just dominating so far in this S&D.
It just feels a little unorganized right now from Texas. Røkkr off to an excellent start to the search and destroy, 4-0, and there is another first blood. Just thankfully for iLLeY, able to put that sniper to good use. Lots of different snipers on the map, by the way. MCPR currently the one that the Pope happens to be rocking. Cammy ever so carefully.
Oh my,
he is slipping and sliding right now.
My God.
Oh, the timing. Oh, Oh, iLLeY, give it to him. Only problem is that OpTic again, Jay, are down in numbers. iLLeY's got to make a jaunt and a half just to get here in time.
All that time he just wasted to get that kill on Cammy. Both of his teammates dropped. So now in a 1v2 with 30 seconds, does not have that silence to work with. They're going to hear exactly where you're coming from. He's trying to time it.
Wait.
Finds that first kill onto Afro. He's thinking that the player's going to be towards top office, and Bance is playing this beautifully.
Who knows about the timing, though? Who knows about the timing? Bance creeps around the corner. iLLeY, I mean, tell you what, man, he had the right strategy in mind considering where that bomb was planted. But Minnesota, it is just picture perfect work. Like we're like you said, we're talking about iLLeY. He's trying to snipe Cammy. Like there's a situation going on. Meanwhile, all of iLLeY's teammates have already been eliminated. And these have been not just great rounds, but fast rounds at that.
They're just making the adjustments on the fly. Right now, OpTic, they don't have any information to work with. No one's crossing towards B right off the rip. No one's peeking doors. No one's peeking windows. It's just very difficult for them to try to stay alive on defense because Minnesota, they're just picking them apart. One round away from Minnesota closing out in a flawless 6-0.
Got to feel confident right now if you're Minnesota. I mean, for God's sake, you're up 5-0. You've played it picture perfect. Shotzzy once again for the fast plant. Did not see this strategy work out earlier. However, trying to maintain his life. Brought down to 20 HP. Thankfully, he's got a little bit of cover fire right now from the squad mates. Attachu's been on that cross since the start of the game. Continues to hold it down. Okay, Shotzzy once again alive for only a moment. Now called upon by Dashy. They have still to defend that bomb site. Now going to be a 2 versus 3. Now making a 1v3 for the map. iLLeY wasn't able to clutch it out last time. Can he do it this time? Not going to be the case. A perfect 6-0 reply in search and destroy out of the Minnesota Røkkr. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we have got ourselves a series.
A Minnesota Røkkr not skipping a beat. Exactly what they thought that exactly what we thought that they were gonna do in search and destroy. Just probably not as clean. That was dominant search and destroy from start to finish. They did not give any information, like I said, to OpTic on their attacking grounds. And then on defense, they're watching players cross. Shotzzy's being super aggressive towards that bomb site. They get the bomb down, but every single time Shotzzy was that player that got first blooded. Now you know that every single player besides Shotzzy is going to be playing towards office side. You get a little bit more map control. The trade does come in when Dashy turns it into a 3v3, but then Bance with the perfect pre-aim, they're able to get him out of top office while Scump is that player to work that late flank. He gets taken down. Minnesota just came out with the strats from start to finish. OpTic simply did not have an answer. I thought the sniper was going to be a lot more impactful, but Minnesota completely took that out of play. Dominated the search and destroy, tied up at 1-1.
Tell you what, man, like I said, we just have no idea what to expect when it comes down to opening weekend. We thought it was going to be, this is like number 1 and number 2 in search, destroy, and Vanguard, and Røkkr just come out with an absolute stunner here on aBeZy. Not only is it a 6-0 in the overall rounds, it's also a 6-0 in the first blood. So often in Call of Duty, we always talk about how important those first bloods are. Røkkr, an excellent job at being able to use that very same success early in the round to deliver success at the end of it. Also, great work out of Afro and Bance together, man. That duo that we were talking about, that we were calling upon to have that big game number 2, they do that 13-6 combined. It is a 1-1 score, ladies and gentlemen. We talked about coming into this series, and this has the ability to go the distance, and right now it has all the makings of it. When we come back after the break, we're going to some good old LSCLO control. Stay with us.
Call of Duty League sends out amazing newsletters before each major tournament, curated with premium content for CDL fans. Scan the QR code on the screen to sign up today. You'll not only get the latest CDL updates straight to your inbox, you'll also be entered to win a free 2023 team pack.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to opening weekend. OpTic Texas versus Minnesota Røkkr. Have you ever heard a better voice than that? Mr. Chris Puckett. It is
My God.
to have you back in some good old Call of Duty. Jay, I don't know how to explain that last search and destroy. I'll let you take it, man. Interesting from Røkkr.
I got you. It was literally like this. A straight slapping. Okay. That's what they got. A straight slapping in that early on search and destroy. Obviously, a clean 6-0 is not the way you want to start your season if you're OpTic Texas. But like I said, just the way that Minnesota played that map, they didn't give up any information on their attacking grounds. And even on defense, they allowed Shotzzy to cross. They get that information of where one player is. You take him down, and eventually you stick the defuse by winning the numbers advantage. That was just a great overall game plan from Minnesota in that search and destroy. But now we're going into some control. This is where it gets a little scary because you see the stat line right there. This is Vanguard stats for Dashy. He was #1 control KD from the beginning of the year all the way to the end. The guy is a beamer. Like we know. We even heard the players say it. He has the best shot in Call of Duty right now. So this is a main focus for Minnesota. You have to make sure you're shutting this player down. And then on the opposite side, just the way the Afro has been playing so far, that's a guy that you have to make sure you're keeping track because you do not want to go 4 dead on your attacking rounds or defensive rounds because then you're basically going to be in a trap.
Yeah, man. Like we said, when you take a look at the bottom left of your screen, that mini map where the arrows are running through, there is a lot of open space when it comes down to this bad boy for sure. The heat maps all focused in here toward that middle building. But here we go into the opening round #1 here for Minnesota Røkkr. Trying to start things off well here on the attack. And really right now, Jay, kind of feels a little bit like a search destroy round. Like you got your first blood. Now you're trying to figure out which part of the map that you want to go to. It seems like right now for Minnesota, they're eyeing up that B zone.
And finally, Afro decides to attack. He was just sitting patiently towards that top plat, but unfortunately, he gets taken down by Scump. Last player closest to a point is going to be attached. He has to now get out with his life. And you see at the mini-map, look at the positioning Bance is able to take towards top radio tower. Is going to allow his teammates to try to push up towards A. He is going to get sniffed out, though. He just has to try to play his life here, but the nade comes over the top. 25 seconds, and not a single segment has been touched.
Yeah, this is an excellent start right now here out of OpTic Texas. Attach at least trying to get something going. Spring a little bit of life here into this Røkkr attacking side as they've got a few members off spawn to try to deal with. First member, that's going to be cleaned up. Scump hits the deck, back to the respawn he goes. Cammy able to stop the time though. Once you're in that objective in control, the time does pause. It's all about those ticks. 3 per zone. If you're able to capture an entire objective, you get an extra minute added on to the round. I tell you what, Jay, so far from what we've seen on this on iLLeY, I don't think 1 tick's gonna do it. Røkkr struggling.
They're struggling to get out of their base. OpTic keep trading efficiently. Finally, 1 player attached this find that opening kill, but the trade should come in right now from Scump. So he gets taken down, and at least for now, Minnesota are able to stop that clock. Look at the spawns right now for OpTic Texas, consistently spawning over towards cliffs. So if you are Minnesota, let's get a little stack going on. That's exactly what's going to happen. The second segment is going to be done. The third is about to be done as well. Not unless iLLeY has something to say about it. At least he gets in a contest spot for now.
This is a big moment. OpTic Texas, they can clear the way right here, solidify the round themselves, but it's Afro walking away with a big double kill, and just like that, another minute added on to the clock. And based off of how much time was left, they definitely needed it. 3 ticks at the back of Minnesota, and now all eyes come in toward that B zone. And this is what we talk about on iLLeY. You got to be careful considering where OpTic is spawning right now, Jay.
Yeah, this is a scary scene. The last player closest to the point is going to be iLLeY. All you have to do is take care of him, but iLLeY actually finds 1. So now only 2 players pushed up from Minnesota on this point. OpTic do a great job of just trading efficiently. Last player up is going to be Cammy. He does complete the first segment. He does find 2. He's going to stall enough time for his teammates to get back into the play. And just look at where OpTic are spawning all the way across the map. They have to try to get back quick.
Over in Narnia, basically, trade still favoring Minnesota. However, and this is dire. Quite quickly, if you are OpTic Texas, Dashy doing everything he can, trying to put that prior control KD to good usage, and he does. It's his life that has to be sacrificed, but you will take that trade every day of the week. Dashy, the hero in that team fight, as Minnesota on the scramble. Now have to make their way toward that objective. Just a little bit more to go. The time is going to be paused. Watch that zone begin to fly. Dashy once again able to find one. Dashy once again 4-2. Bance has found his way on the flank. Can he jump in here? Get a toe in? Not gonna happen.
Wow.
A solid job from Røkkr at the end, but it is Dashy coming up clutch to save the round.
That's unbelievable. How did it allow Dashy to do that? That was a 1v3. The rest of OpTic were all spawning all the way in the back by that building. Dashy just finds the first kill from top party and then jumps down, challenges 2 players from green fence and gets both of them. That's what eventually allows OpTic to get back into this play. What a game round-saving play right there from Dashy to secure the first defensive round on aBeZy.
A much-needed one at that. Again, you did give away 5 ticks, but still.
That's tough,
You'll see that 1-0 scoreline regardless and be pretty proud of it, considering how things did end up starting, as though OpTic will take their first whack at the attacking side. And no surprise, it's going to be taking a look at that A zone, what is expected to be the easier one of the 2 here on aBeZy.
Trying to attack it towards A, because look at the spawns coming in from Minnesota all the way towards Cliffside, but they do have a potential pinch coming along as iLLeY's going to go for the challenge onto attach. Fortunately, Bance is able to assist in that gunfight. So they take him off A. Now, if you're Minnesota, you want to try to maintain map control. Try to get your SMG players to roam around towards bottom mid and also stay alive on every single side of the map. But they take down attach. Now the progression towards A is going up.
And you'll see as well, right? When it comes down to the top side of your map, Minnesota Røkkr aware of the fact that, hey, this objective probably not going to be ours. We'll send a few players to try and slow it down. Afro at least successful. Hey, you know, he gets a little poke in. Tee-hee, no big deal. We'll give that objective away. But as I said, Minnesota trying to get to that building that we call green basically acts as a checkpoint for them and really can mess up the spawns for OpTic Texas as well. Really, their biggest lifeline right now happens to be player number 8 in Cammy.
Yeah, this is where it gets difficult though, because the map is so damn big. You have to check so many corners to try to eliminate everyone from these positions. But Cammy right now, he's the guy that's influencing these spawns for OpTic to consistently spawn over towards that yellow side. That's why you see Dashy just slowly trying to play for him. Eventually, the dead silence is going to be earned. They know that Cammy's on this side of the map. Big kill if you can get it, but nope. Cammy just plays it like a rat, finds the kill onto Dashy, maintains the map control, now continuously forcing OpTic to overextend.
This is great work from Cammy, and he also manages to stay alive. Best part for him, really, is his job's pretty simple, Jay. You know, teammates are slaying out. I'm just going to hang out in here. You know what? It may not be the cleanest room in the world. Should the mattresses... Does the mattress smell kind of weird? Yeah, but at least we're playing pretty well. At least we're keeping the round alive for the moment. Attach and Afro continue to be problems. A few close spawns, though. Now it's going to make things a little bit more difficult there for Cammy. All 4 players up close and personal. As he eventually does get sandwiched out. Afro dealt with as well, and here comes the boys in green.
Yeah, OpTic trying to attack this from front side field. They're finding every single player on their side of the spawn. So with now 40 seconds left, they're finally able to touch on B. Stop this clock for the time being. But it's all about picking up these kills from now on. If you can get a clean 4 dead, the round is basically yours. As long as the kills stay stagnant, that's exactly how Minnesota wanted to be played. As Bance and Cammy, they're able to find 2. So now 30 seconds left. Farthest player pushed up is going to be Dashy. This is going to be tough. Can Dashy pull off one of those miracle 3 pieces again?
Absolutely possible. As we said, number 1 control KD last year, called upon to hit the beams. Somewhat successful. Bance battered, but ultimately stays alive. Good teamwork there out of Røkkr. iLLeY, maybe one last push. Ready and prepared. He's ready to hit the hot flank and hope that his teammates can actually join him. But again, it is the cover fire from Minnesota, as this round will come to a halt. And take a look at that team spree. I think that is 11 in a row as a squad. Røkkr end out round number 2 in style.
That was just great work from Minnesota. Even though they lost A pretty early on into the round, they maintained map control the entire time. It took about a minute for OpTic Texas to clear out Cammy in towards green for them to fight for that side. And they had a great push going on when they found every single kill. Each of one of those players on Minnesota trying to set up that pinch play. But then once they got pushed up, the kills just didn't go in their favor. Minnesota stayed on top. They made sure they maintained that BS&D map control. And once you do that, you're consistently spawning on towards cliff. So even more difficult task for OpTic Texas to try to get that break. Minnesota tie it up, and it's currently 5-3 to segment. So if you are Minnesota, you're currently in the lead.
Currently in the lead, and one of the best parts about that is Cammy has got some streaks to work with on aLLeY as well. My goodness. I could definitely cause some problems, Jay. Do it with your chest, baby. Baby, love that. I love that. And right now, Røkkr is 2. Here comes the precision airstrike, possibly from Bance. I don't know whether he's just earned it. My apologies. I thought he was getting ready to rock that thing. And very well may have been a great spot to do it in up close and personal fights. Bance, not going to be his day, at least for that one. Minnesota come out in their opening break, and at least are able to grab now one, possibly the second tick. Attached, tagged up, and bagged up. Good work here from Texas to hold him back.
And now Scump finds himself in that green position. Now you're forcing all of Minnesota to consistently spawn at yellow. This is exactly how OpTic want to play it. Another 2 dead in the feed, basically putting them in a trap. Trade goes down, 3 dead. Now everyone all spawn. Now it's all on Scump, because now they're trying to clear him out, but he's able to find 2. This is utter domination right now from OpTic.
Goodness.
They're keeping them in the trap. Finally, Cammy gets 1.
Well, they've got them in the full. Nelson, Shotzzy, gotta be careful. Gotta reload that Vaznev. It's a bad timing there. At least one Minnesota player has managed to make his way forward. Okay, he gets dropped. We get it, OpTic Texas. You're pretty talented. Dashy puts in a few bullets. 23 seconds on the clock. Minnesota. And hey, round number 1, they started off really slow, managed to get things going. OpTic with a great little moment to kick off this round number 3. Afro comes away with a crucial double, and that could set things up. Gonna play a little bit of S&D here for a moment. Everything comes to a standstill for just a second. Another member from Minnesota is going to be on that point. Slowly but surely, the A zone continues to creep up.
Yeah, second tick is about to come in. The way you want to try to break this, you have to take down Afro off top radio, and that's exactly what iLLeY does. Great shots from him. Now the pitch is going to be there. They're not going to allow Minnesota to close out this 8 point. 10 seconds away from the second defensive round for OpTic Texas. Trying to secure. One player is actually going to sneak through all the way to B. OpTic's doing a great job of just finding every single kill on the opposite side, but 0.0 on the clock. Afro's able to stop it.
Ladies and gentlemen, there is no time at all. It was a nice effort there from Afro, but to be honest, Jay, I saw the overall lives available. I think it was like 20-7. So, you know, you could have maybe got a tick, you know, had a little moment there at the end, but just tell you what, an absolute dominant slaying performance here from OpTic Texas. And again, on aLLeY, you're expected to get a few ticks basically every offense. So really, in general, a nice little round number 3. Was it only 2 ticks for Minnesota overall?
Yeah. So right now it puts us at 7-3. So if you're OpTic Texas, let's just make sure we close out one of these points, because so far they've been looking great on their defensive rounds, so they could potentially have that going into round number 5.
Both teams flexing that slaying talent. Team streaks for either side. OpTic Texas coming to this one. A decent one themselves. Maybe some streaks could be in their future. Cammy starts things off nicely. Shotzzy, you know what? It's a door. Let's just slam through it. And then we're going to be here anyway. And so early on, pause that time. Peekaboo manages to drop him. Great work from Texas here off the rip. Third person cleared. And already, Jake, this could be curtains at that A zone, unless, I guess, attach could do something.
Yeah, it's basically curtains, especially the second ticket's about to come in. They have the double stack going. You have one player in Afro trying to set up that late pinch to work his way in towards bottom pool, but A is now going to be done and dusted. 2 minutes and 10 seconds to work with. OpTic up by 1 life. They need 1 segment, 2 segments to at least guarantee themselves defense, as they're still currently down 1. They tie, it comes down to kills, but you see the positioning right now in Scump. He's trying to play for some spawn kills. Unfortunately, Bance pulls out the TAC 56, able to rip him off top party.
And the TAC 56 making its debut, and understandably so, on a map like this one. Lots of long lines of sights, as we said. So many far spawn points. You really put that bad boy to good usage. By the way, shout out to our observers highlighting iLLeY, trying to make the play on the flank. He's done this a few different times, and Jay, if he can get to this part of the map, this could be very problematic for Minnesota Røkkr. He's not only influencing the spawns, but he also has the cross. Tagged up Cammy, at least gives that information over to his teammates. And really, once he finds that kill, he eventually does get evaporated. Attack coming in from Bance is able to clear out the base for the moment.
Yeah, that was tough right there for iLLeY, because he found himself in a great position, but at the same time, all of his teammates dropped, so he was the only player on that side of the map. Once he gets 1 kill, everyone else is just going to turn around, take him down, knowing that they are maintaining map control once again. But OpTic, they're able to slip on through, find a couple kills, get on this B point, stop the clock for the time being. But now your main focus is eliminating Afro from this green position, because he's going to cause you problems.
Also sitting on some streaks as well. Great little spree, 6 in a row right now from Afro. You can see Minnesota Røkkr are quite rich when we talk about streaks for the moment. What will be, and looks to be, possible round number 5. Røkkr still a job to do. OpTic glanced at that B zone. They've had a few moments of opportunity, and now could be their time to strike. Great calls. The precision causes some issues. Shotzzy, he flies away from aLLeY, all but a distant afterthought now. 25 seconds still left. OpTic Texas, one last good push at this, Jay.
This is the last good push, and look at the player on your minimap, Scump. Look at his positioning right now towards bottom ammo. He's able to find that first kill onto attach, but Afro with the trade is going to keep the kill stagnant. OpTic just have to hop on this point, stop that clock. Only 10 seconds away from this round, getting away from them.
See if they can pull off something special. Shotzzy's at least able to find one. Scump for the second. And here we go. They have to get on that point. They have to dive on in. They're in at 0.1. Shotzzy is able to win the fight. He's got a few members here alongside of him. And that's what we talk about. That's what we talk about. The long spawn. It's a Hail Mary nade from Røkkr, as they will be able to hold on. They got a little bit worrisome there for a moment, Jay. Like we saw at aLLeY.
Yeah.
Minnesota are over in Narnia, but that one nade that manages to just land in where it does is going to allow for us to see a round number 5.
Such a crucial nade, because keep in mind, if Shotzzy's running a trophy right there, Minnesota probably do not get the break. But that nade comes in, takes down Shotzzy, which was the only player on that B point, stopping that clock. And they win the defense. Now, Minnesota, once again, are going to be on the defensive side going into this round number 5. OpTic just have to try to find an answer for this B point. They're allowing Minnesota to fully contain bottom middle with their SMG just roaming around and basically maintain green for a majority of the time. They're wasting a lot of time just trying to find these players. So they're going to early on attack towards A, but you need to make sure you're maintaining that map control for B.
So they look to do it. These opening breaks, so important. Really for both sides, but especially OpTic Texas here in this round number 5 on the offense. A little bruised and battered, but they made their way to the objective, and so far it is sunny skies. Despite a lovely little evening here on aLLeY. Scump prone on his belly, and the nade once again causing problems for Texas. And a trophy in sight. That one cleared out, and so far all you have is one tick to speak of.
One tick to speak of, and not really a lot of map controls, because once again, Cammy in that position towards green.
Okay.
Forcing all of OpTic to try to maintain or force their way in towards A. They're able to win the trade gunfights for now. Second tick is going to be done. It's looking like Minnesota potentially going to give this one up, and Cammy, he actually gives up his positioning towards green. So now that opens it up for OpTic to try to wrap back and get it. But you see Minnesota now with 2 minutes left, have to hold strong once again at this B point. Afro's just going to pop his dead silence, be a nuisance in an opponent's base.
Minute 45 on the clock. We call this mode game number 3, control the swing mode. Can sway these series so much at a current 1-1 scoreline. OpTic Texas, 3 more ticks is what they're looking for. On the other side for Minnesota, clear them off, allow for that time to tick away. Both these teams trying to have the advantage coming into game number 4. Bance putting in a lot of work, a lot of damage through lockers. Ultimately, all those bullets not able to go through, however. Still decent map control. Got one player who could play spoiler here. Thankfully for attach, he's at least going to be aware of it. Player number 2 in Scump does find himself toward the flank. Some big positions right now for multiple Minnesota players, Jay. 1v1s that could define the round right here.
Oh, this big kill coming in from Scump. Now all you have to do is take this player out of green. Shotzzy does a great job of just trading it. But now you have to find where Afro is. Afro's the player that can potentially break their setup. Scump right now is so far pushed up. Just trying to maintain this map control, able to stay alive right there. Versus attach. They can find these 2 players out of the bases is huge. OpTic get on the point. The first segment is done.
First segment is there. OpTic Texas, a picture-perfect setup. They've got trophies. They've got the angles, but they don't have protection from the streak. Bance comes in out of nowhere. And attach is going to be able to find one himself. 2 players fall. It's all onto the king, but he's able to stay alive. He also is going to have a streak to work with by his lonesome inside of the garage. And here comes the cruise missile. What can he find? 30 seconds left. He's got attach his name written on it, but he's not able to find him. He's not able to find him, but OpTic Texas will walk away with the round number 5. It is madness to close out LSCLO. And you can see from Minnesota Røkkr, frustrated faces as they know they let that one slip.
They let that one go, but you can't allow Scump to get that two-piece. The king makes the play to win this map for OpTic Texas. Once he finds that two-piece, you see the cruise missile. It gets called in. He's not really thinking about getting any kills because the cruise missile, for some reason, dies to a trophy system in this game, but he's using it specifically for the communication. He knows exactly where every single player is on the map. They just got 2 down. You know that one player from Minnesota are going to try to commit towards that flank, and there was already a player committed watching that. Once you take him down, all of Minnesota are spawning in Narnia. They're spawning all the way across the map. Great job right there from the king, not missing any steps. 27 and 17 in map number 1, 28 and 20 with that AR in hand. He is, oh my god, what a play, man. OpTic Texas take map number 3.
Yeah, I can tell, buddy. You've been waiting for this moment for such a long time. You've been waiting patiently during this offseason, my friend.
Telling you, man, I've been bored.
We've all been bored, man. What a game number 3 is both of these teams exchanging blows either which way. But as you said, we'll go and take a look at the highlights throughout this one. It's a great performance all the way around. We talk about clutch moments, but ultimately in that round number 5, Scump going big, able to find that spree. The only player positive when we talk about this swing game number 3 control as well, Jay.
That's the crazy part, man. Crazy part. Even if you go back to this round number 1, if Dashy doesn't get that 3-piece, OpTic lose that very first defense, and Minnesota probably walk away in the 3-1. But every time someone on OpTic needed to make a clutch play, they got it done. Great job from them on defense to secure 2 rounds. They get that A point nice and early, but this time around towards their B attacks, they eliminate that player from green. They allow Scump to get all the way pushed up in the opponent's face. Once he finds that 2-piece, like I said, all of Minnesota spawning all the way across the map. You use the cruise, you get your information, and this has to do wonders for OpTic Texas because you saw the energy from the player cams as soon as this map was done. They thought that this one was gonna get away from them, but you got the king on your roster. That guy knows a thing or two about clutching up in these crucial moments, and he did it there for now OpTic to go up 2-1.
And I don't know, man, like, I think if you're OpTic Texas, you're like, okay, Scump, 3rd AR, M4, looks great. I don't know, maybe we want to try to use that M4 as long as we possibly can. He is excellent in these respawns with it. You saw the spree at the end, putting the young man on skates. Afro hits the deck, and despite the multiple different streaks that you had from Minnesota, all those kill streaks does not equal out to a result. A frustrating loss in round number 5 if you are Minnesota. Considering how great that you looked in that S&D, you hope to try to carry that momentum into that game number 3. However, OpTic Texas find themselves up 2-1. And Jay, we have got ourselves a Fortress hardpoint up next. Oh, this is going to be chaotic. It's going to be fun. I have no idea, to be honest with you, buddy, how this one's going to go.
This Fortress hardpoint is going to be a battle. I feel like when we look at our maps from last year to this year, Fortress is most compared to me to Bokaj. Just straight chaos, basically a majority of the time through the middle of the map, but there is money hills. That's what you have to make sure you're paying attention to, because if you're starting on that bad side, it's going to be a little difficult for you to get out towards P1, try to get any time off that. So your initial thoughts is we got to try to flip these spawns. We got to try to attack this from open arch and close arch so we can potentially push through P2 and flip the spawns towards the back side, because if you don't, you get schooled at that P1, you get clean 4 dead. You're basically trapped in towards the back. OpTic, all they have to do is just hit the pre-aims up. So if you're starting on bad side, which Minnesota are, you have to make sure you're able to break out that initial game, that initial play, because you can start the game down potentially 90-0 and then force your way all the way towards P3 where you have to get that time.
Yeah, without question, buddy. By the way, can you open that jacket a little bit? What shirt are you rocking right there?
Don't worry about it.
You know, shirt.
They're not playing today. They're not playing today.
Jay, we're twins. We're twins.
Oh,
buddy.
Okay. See, we're dads too, man. We're just twinning all the time.
We talk about duos. Listen, there is nobody who has more chemistry than 2 fathers. Let me just tell you that right now. But tell you what, man, I'm excited for this Fortress hardpoint. Like we said, dude, like Scump really has been the dad of this series. And I feel like coming into this game number 4, I feel like he's going to really rally this roster. I feel like they're very motivated after a game like that. And I mean, we're talking about Scump trying to lead the way right now for the team. We know, right? The personnel, the slang talent. I mean, 2 guys who were listed in that top 5 for overall players in Vanguard and Shotzzy and Dashy. If those guys come to play, I know it's not always about the slang, but if they're putting up those numbers, putting Minnesota in awkward positions, this very well could be where the series ends for OpTic.
And you know what's a little scary going into this Fortress Hardpoint is that it's a smaller map, so we potentially might see Scump whip out that second SMG a majority of the times, except for like the money hills. At P3, everyone should have an AR. All you have to do is pre-aim in front of you, get your kill, and you should be good. But we saw what Boston were able to do on Control early on. That guy, well, it was all about the SMGs, and you see the stats, 1.36 from the King. In his final season, I thought he put a lot of pressure on himself when he announced that, but he's not a man that's afraid of pressure. Pressure makes diamonds. 1.36 so far in this series. He is godlike.
Scump, on behalf of the entire CDL, are you sure? Like,
are you sure? Are you sure you want to do that?
You really, you know, why not make it 15? It sounds like a, you know, an even better number. But tell you what, man, he is having himself a game. These respawns, he has been on fire. And as we said, I mean, in that last Control, the only player who ends up going positive for this OpTic Texas team. And as you said, a stash to match the talent.
It might be the stash.
It could be.
Like, I don't know. Scump is different with the stash and the air on hand. Like, I'm wondering what he's going to do with this SMG, potentially, if he pulls it out in this Fortress Hardpoint. But Minnesota, they got to find an answer. They kind of let that Control away from them. They had streaks on streaks. Mack control majority of the time, but all OpTic needed was one play. So I'm wondering what it does to their headspace, because you feel like you should have won that map. Now you're going into this map number 4 knowing that you have to win this to at least force a map number 5. We'll see how they face versus adversity in this first early on series.
Yeah, I'm glad that you're bringing up Minnesota in this situation, because they really are the team to focus on, right?
Yeah.
For this moment. And you started off, you know, I guess okay in the HyDra electric hardpoint. Still, it sounds weird to say. HyDra.
I know.
HyDra. Okay, all the words there. They start off a little bit slow, then they come out unbelievably strong in the search destroy. As you said, had some great moments. It looked like the game was theirs to close out that aBeZy Control. Now stepping into this hard point, I know you said there needs to be an answer. What player or what players are you looking at to really be the difference to try to send this to a game 5?
Well, so far, Cammy, he's had an unbelievable performance, at least in the respawns. Yeah. He's been playing really well alongside Afro. That guy is a man on a mission, just being a nuisance in their spawn with that SMG in hand. And I think Afro is the guy that I'm really going to be paying attention to on a map like Fortress, because a lot of these gunfights are fairly close range. So he has to be able to finesse his way around in towards bottom art, around in towards bottom maps, and just maneuver his way around this map to open up lanes for his ARs. And you know, it's usually the opposite way. ARs got to pre-aim over your subs, but on a map like Fortress, your SMGs put a lot of pressure on the map, where it makes it a lot more difficult for the opposing team to even set up pre-aims or anything. So I'm really looking at Afro to set the tone right here on this map. Like I said, you're starting on bad side, so you're probably not going to have a good start, but Afro needs to be the guy that I look at to just cause mayhem on the side of OpTic.
Let's tell you what, man, you talk about SMGs applying pressure. I think it's fair to say this SMG is feeling the pressure. When we talk about his addition to this Minnesota Røkkr team, there's a lot of eyes on this guy, right? He was a very hot prospect in the offseason, was not going to return back to the London Royal Ravens after his 2-year stint with them. Comes over to this team, and it feels like, you know, last year was supposed to be his breakout season. Like, we expected him to really take that next rise. I think we definitely saw improvement overall, but he would be the guy to say it. Like, hey, you know, the performance that I had in Cold War into Vanguard, it wasn't exactly an upward trajectory. You're really looking at him to finally have that standout moment, that standout series. And so often we've talked about for this Minnesota team, if you see guys like Afro, guys like Cammy lighting it up, the skill ceiling on this Minnesota team, it's hard to cap, man. Like, it really is. It's hard to know where this team could go if the team is firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, especially if their search and destroy is looking like that, because you have 2 SMDs in every series. In the best of 5, there's 2 search and destroys. It's all about the other game modes. Obviously, in the map number 1, it came down to that 1 rotation towards generator. They're basically playing great hard point as well. And then even in that Control, it was in their grasp. They had it. They had everything that they needed to. They were maintaining green control the entire time. They were playing the way that they needed to. Just in that crucial moment where they needed to clutch up, they let it go. Now, if you going into this Fortress hardpoint, you have to make sure you're always on that level of clutch up, because the game can get away from you really, really quickly. You cannot go 4 dead right off the rip on a map like Fortress, because then you basically put yourself in a trap. So if all these players are firing on all cylinders, just the way that they have been so far this series, just been some really close maps, I feel like we have the potential to go game 5.
It's very possible, my friend. And I guess at the same time, too, if you're an OpTic fan, if you're even a member of OpTic Texas right now, you're not one to think about that Game 5, but it almost has to be in the back of your mind, considering how that Game 2 Search Destroy looked. If for those who are just joining us, a clean 6-0 on that aBeZy. And again, we're talking about how that control, if it goes a little bit differently, how this very well should be Minnesota, probably up 2-1 with a guaranteed Game 5 on our hands. We don't have that guaranteed Game 5, but you really like their chances if it can go the distance, considering how good that they looked. And I think it's a mix of the two, Jay. Like, and just to kind of rewind back to that Search Destroy, not only was it Minnesota playing well, but OpTic just looked unorganized.
Yeah, OpTic definitely didn't look organized. It looked like they had one game plan going off the rip. iLLeY sniped across, give us the information, and they will play from that. But when you have no information to play off, that's unfortunately where you're going to get 6-0'd. And that's exactly what happened. Obviously, OpTic are going to go back. They're going to get better at Search and Destroy. That's just what they do. They got caught off guard in this map, number one, but at least they find themselves up 2-1 in this series, taking care of the respawns like exactly how I thought that they were. But now it just comes down to this fortress. You're starting off on good side. You have to give yourself a comfortable lead, knowing that you're basically not going to have those spawns repeat 3.
Without a doubt, my friend. Big game number 4 getting ready to pop up on your screen. However, we want to rewind back just for a moment to the end of that aLLeY control. But take a look at our Scump play of the game, and it is none other than the king. Scump making some very, very big plays toward the stretch. Jay, he goes for 6 in a row. Afro, I tell you what, man, you don't want to see that one again.
Yeah, you don't want that right there. You don't want that to happen, because now once Scump finds that 2-piece, the cruise missile gets called in. Look at number 1 on your minimap. Dashy is not giving up the flank. He knows exactly where Bance is coming from. He doesn't even have to get a kill with this streak. He knows where everyone is on the map. The stack comes in, and that's how you close out aLLeY control. You maintain map control, you get pushed up in their base, and you should be straight to go. And it's exactly what OpTic were able to do in that final round, obviously led by the king with a massive 2-piece.
Yeah, I know we've talked a lot about Scump so far throughout this series. And again, for those who are just joining us, by the way, hello, Twitch chat. It's great to see you guys.
Hey, guys.
Obviously, back when we talk about the stream change, things like that, super excited to obviously have this transfer. But like I said, to start off this series, man, we were talking about Scump, right? It is his final season. As much as we would love for it not to be, he's talked about it. Hey, this is going to be curtains for me. So far has started off this series incredibly well. A lot of pressure on this OpTic Texas team, Jay, to perform, to be able to win championships and what is going to be one of the greatest players of all time, without question. His season coming to an end, his career coming to an end. Victories like this, they don't just expect them, or rather they don't just want them, but they expect them, considering what is all going on right now for this team.
Yeah, OpTic, obviously, Scump's on his last hurrah. It's sad to say, man. It's so sad, because this guy has been a staple, the face of Call of Duty for quite some time. And especially if he's playing like this, man, like, we might have to reconsider that. Like, there's no way I'm 1.36 in my first series. Like, I'm gonna retire for what? For what? What are we gonna retire for, Scump? We gotta reevaluate this. We gotta go back and think it. Because if you're putting up 1.3s, there's no way in hell you can go anywhere.
That's without question, dude. Like, to be honest with you, like, it's like, come on, like, are we really like this? Is this like now the time for your career to be ending? Like, you're at like a 1. What is it right now? KD wise,
1.36. God, it's gross.
A 1 point what?
3.6.
Okay.
3.6.
Oh, that's I don't know. It's unfortunate, ladies and gentlemen. I tell you what, like, it really does bring a tear to our eyes.
We're at the beginning of the season. It's all right. It's all right. We still got a lot more Scump.
We've still got like, okay, you know, we got like 4.5, 5 majors to go. It is going to be a long season.
We got some time.
We also do apologize, ladies and gentlemen. I think we're experiencing a little bit of a break. Hopefully, we do hear an update on this game number 4 coming up here on Fortress Hardpoint. Excited to see what could be the end of this series. Again, OpTic Texas right now do find themselves in the driver's seat, up 2-1. Minnesota back to the wall. You want to see how they can reply. We've talked about a number of different players to look out for. We've highlighted Afro. We've highlighted really what this W would mean for Minnesota. And like we said, Jay, I think as well, you have to be looking out for a guy like Attach, right? He has been with this Minnesota Røkkr franchise for how long now? He's going to have to try to corral the troops, make sure the guys are focused and ready to go coming into this game, because this is, like we said, a revenge game from last year. Major 1. We rewind the clock back a little bit. It was actually a game 4 where OpTic Texas was up. Minnesota makes a crazy comeback. They win it in a game 5, round 11. You're trying to channel what you did last year if you're Attached right now.
Yeah, if you're Attached too, because Attached, you know, as a former player, everyone loves to play against OpTic. You play at your best when you're playing against OpTic. So I know Attach is letting the guys know, like, no need to worry. We basically choked that map number 3. We're still in a power position. We're looking great. Everybody's communicating on point. All we have to do is just clean up on these little mistakes. Don't allow Shotzzy to find openings. Don't allow Scump to basically go double positive every single respawn, and you should be okay. And Attach is the guy that I'm looking at to really lead this guys when it comes to that, because you just love playing against OpTic.
You really do, man. You really do. I know we highlighted a little bit earlier, but let's go and take a look at our 2 really main ARs when it comes down to this matchup. We're talking about Dashy and we're talking about Attach, both for their respective squads, trying to put up a very, very solid performance when it comes down to it. I've been told the stats, throw them away. It doesn't matter. In fact, what we're going to talk about is the CDL shop. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have not already checked it out, make sure to do it. Check out the CDL store for the exclusive collection of official CDL apparel and merchandise, including classic favorites like team jerseys and hoodies. Visit shop.callofduty.com to gear up today. Oh, Jay, some of these jerseys are fresh. I'm liking these a lot, man.
Oh, they look good. Look at LAGs. That's a whole lot of, it looked like graffiti all over the chest. A whole bunch of LAs. And you know who else? Believe it or not, we don't see it on our screen, but Paris Legion kind of got some drip to them this year. I mean, not Paris, my bad. Las Vegas Legion got some drip to them this year with that new roster. So make sure you guys go check out shop.callofdutyleague.com and go get your favorite team and support your squad.
And let us know, ladies and gentlemen, as well. Right down in the Twitch chat, let us know what jersey you're going to be rocking. I can imagine right now, considering the series that we're in, probably who you're going to say, but I don't know, man. We got a lot of fans out there for a bunch of different teams. I personally would definitely sport that Minnesota jersey. I'm just saying, we'll see how the series ends up going. Like I said, I was calling for that stat a little bit earlier. Now we've got it. Shout out to production. It is Dashy versus Attach. As we said, we're taking a look at the main ARs for both of these squads coming into this game number 4, how they can perform. This is so far what we're looking at. I know I've been saying a lot of nice things, in terms of stats. Not the greatest performance from Dashy overall yet, Jay, but it could turn around in game 4.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting this. But when Scump is at 1.3, somebody's got to be doing the dirty work, and that's exactly what Dashy's doing. 0.76, hasn't really had to do anything in the respawns, and they won both of them. On the opposite side, Attach 44 and 48, 0.92. We know what this guy's able to do. He's Mr. Consistent, even though it's not over 1.0 KD. The guy's still having a stellar performance. Just a couple of those mistakes in both of those respawns got away from him. And this is a perfect example, Lando. Like stats, when it comes to respawn game modes, like, throw him out the window, because Dashy's stats are way worse than Attach, but his team is up 2-1. Great job.
That's for sure, man. That's 100% sure, dude. At this point, by the way, I just saw Bryce in our green room chat call out the fact that, we very well may or not, have a little bit of slip ups when it comes to the Paris Legion now versus Las Vegas Legion overall.
Las Vegas.
So, we're getting used to it. It's the very start of this season. I'll tell you what, man, I've had a blast so far commentating MW2. The game is clean. It looks great. Looks nice. And honestly, man, like it's nice because it feels like we were like able to point out like different emphases on like different things, spawn flips. Like it feels like you can really pinpoint the little moments. And I'm sure for you, man, you got a lot of things to look at. You're the brains behind this whole operation so far. How do you feel about what you've been seeing so far?
Overall, I've been having a good time. Obviously the hard points are clean. You see the setups. It's really, really difficult to break certain hard points. S&D, at least based off the one that we watched, wasn't really the best because it was a clean 6-0, but it's all about maintaining map control. You barely have to do a lot to win by a lot. So that's what you have to make sure. You don't have to get all the kills. You don't have to, you have to rotate every single time, but it definitely doesn't come down to all the kills. You can simply go 13 and 25 and still win a hard point by 40. So I love that. You can pinpoint the certain point when the game, where the game changes. We saw it in map number 1. We saw it in map number 3, and it's going to continue to be like that all year. Great job.
It is indeed, my friend. It is indeed. We love ourselves some MW2. The action has been great so far. We do apologize. We're going to have to throw it to a quick little commercial break. Then we return. OpTic Texas versus Minnesota Røkkr. The series continues. We'll see you in a moment. How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to opening weekend. I'll tell you what, man, MW2 has been fantastic so far. We're currently in the middle of a series going on between OpTic Texas and Minnesota Røkkr. Jay, this series has lived up to the hype, man. We've had some great moments. We've seen some crazy turn-ons. Scump looks like he has winded back the clock for his final season. I'm interested to see how the rest of this series goes. What have you made so far between OpTic and Minnesota up to this point? Just to let people know, as a little bit of an update, if you will, on how the series has been going.
It's been an absolute banger of a series, man. Obviously, OpTic, they take a close map number 1 to get smoked, absolute smackage in that map number 2, and then they clutch up towards the very end of that map number 3 to not give themselves a commanding 2-1 lead going into a fortress hardpoint. Scump, like you said, having himself one hell of a performance in this series. Please don't retire, my guy. 1.36 overall. Just absolutely slaying the enemies, man. So if you're Minnesota, you got to stay alive in this series a little longer. Got to at least try to force that game 5 by winning a very, very tough hardpoint in Fortress. That's
without question, my man. You see OpTic Texas up 2-1 right now in this series. We do have that Fortress hardpoint, I believe, coming up next. We do apologize. We are currently experiencing a bit of a game delay. I know us as casters, you know, we do have that button where we can start the lobby, we can start the game. So, you know, maybe I just need to find it. I might have misplaced it, Jay. So maybe during this quick little commercial break, I'll try to find the button to start the game.
Yeah, move the post-it notes around. Move them around, Lando. They're all over the place.
You know, I got a bunch of post-it notes. Yeah, actually, I really do. You know me. You know me very well. We are the dad duo after all. We know each other like the back of our hand. We apologize, ladies and gentlemen. Just a quick little game delay, quick little break. We'll be back again with OpTic Texas versus Minnesota Røkkr right after this.
It's time to start your Call of Duty League Championship. Galen Center, you can love them or hate them, but make some noise for Atlanta FaZe, your hometown team, the LAZ. Gotta get it. I gotta have it.
I like Thieves versus Atlanta. You know what? Either back-to-back or Atlanta FaZe finally getting that chip from this year. I couldn't write a better story.
I'm aiming for the top spot.
I cannot wait to watch these guys get going. This is going to be an insane final.
Let's let the games begin.
It's not dark enough for this. It's not.
You just get to have some fun with it, boys. Let's have some fun today.
Have some fun. Just don't get antsy in this.
When we get these kills, we bring this game to them, right? When we get these kills, we bring this game to them.
Yep. 5 more maps.
Yep, it's over. It's everything.
All it is, 5 more maps.
Let's do it, boys. This is our
This is our last day of Vanguard through everything. We've been through second places over and over and over. We're getting first here.
Yes, sir.
These guys actually can't kill us, stay on top of the game, and we win. That's easy. Let's f***ing go.
We have had some bumps in the road, a hell of a lot of turbulence to get here, but now we find ourselves one final series and the 2 finest teams in the league. Here we go!
Okay. Picture the U fast. I got 2. I got 2.
Let's go entering. Trying to get it. All right, side left. Sun upstairs. Enter. Circle stairs. Wait. I got it. Enter Chris.
Just holding me off time. I got naded. One's back out. I got They'll hear one. I'll go pick him. I'm going pushing on front. Underbow. From mid-take. Yep, underbow got me. I'll get it. I don't see him. Go. I'm fire rocker now.
Absolutely. Circle.
And top. I have your top. I'm living.
MC's not challenging. Circle steps.
I'm going to one shot in our steps. Inside of our steps. Watch out. I have our door push.
He can't get here. He's not moving.
Let's go. That's what I'm talking about. That's fun. Good one.
All good.
Sam, you were pissing, bro.
Bro, I started off the map like 0-8, but I had 10 Ikias.
Oh, I'm bad.
I was keeping track. I'm like,
starting their grand finals off right.
Listen, boys, keep this up.
Yep.
I don't know who the f they are picking Burr for our second map. Appreciate them, though.
Let's do it.
Yep, let's go.
Same shit, bro. Good comms, that map. Let's do it.
Good.
Yeah, good comms. 100%.
Bro, they can't kill you, Sam. Holy
Man, come on. Comfortable, confident, composed. That's gonna do, alright?
Yep. Map number 2, here we go.
Tim? He's running at you?
He's running at you.
Behind you, fast. You're good.
You got this. You got this.
Nice! You're good. Let's go, Dill. Let's go, Dill.
Envoy, the slipperiest of players, in an unorthodox position, steals the round.
And would you look at that? It is harder to clutch in those moments. It is Envoy for the 1v3 where he has to be perfect, but they nailed it.
Time still ticking. 20 seconds now, and that bomb goes boom. FaZe need to hold him back.
And Envoy's waiting. Envoy's just waiting for him!
Oh my God! You're so much better, Dill! Holy you are so much better, Dill. That was perfect. They're breaking. Good. Holy Dill, let's go.
Good God. Time's ticking. He's done it. He's done it. He's done it. He's done it.
Just lay down. Dude, this guy's breaking. He lost 3-1. He lost 3-1. Breaking, bro.
Good try, bro. All good. I'll get you. Okay.
It's a 2-0 lead for the LA Thieves now in the grand final.
Do not give them freebies, bro. That's what they're looking for right now. Some freebies.
Literally. To get back in the game.
We're not giving them to them, bro.
Yep. Same, bro. You guys have been fighting all weekend. You guys know how this game is. You guys know how everything is, bro. We're gonna fight. We're gonna have to fight. No one said this is gonna be easy. We're down 0-2. We've been here before.
We're getting some lucky ass rounds, bro. MC just wall banged me from everywhere, bro. He literally I'm telling you, bro. He literally wall banged me from the B docks, and I'm in.
Yeah, Zach's done that to someone before.
I lost
that same round. I don't know.
Could they go back to back? We will see. But over to Gavutu now we go. Control our third game mode.
Hey, they're Fire tank out. Oh my. Let's go, dude.
Last. Did not hit him. Low left.
That's all you do.
I ran circle. Try to get your mid. Stay up right.
MC, absolute dead. I got needed, yeah. Tree, could we be? Can we be?
Yeah,
go be up squad. I have all clip.
Tyler led B.
Oh my God.
Tyler is circle.
Top three.
Should be dead.
Top three.
We're missing one. Missing Dill. He's in green. Stand first guy.
He's already up. Pop clip then.
That's first.
Kenny on the flank. Watch out.
Stay down. 20 seconds.
Louis, last guy. On top of the tank, Louis hit. Crossing.
Behind the tank.
It's only guy right now.
What was that?
Talking about.
That's fine. Don't worry about that. Don't worry. You're good. Good job.
LA Thieves take the lead 3-0. The final round. What just happened?
I mantled on accident. I didn't even mean to mantle right there. So dumb, dude. How did I mantle right there?
Well, maybe an auto mantle, actually.
Yeah,
I don't even know. Already in a pressure cooker, and the heat gets cranked up that much higher.
Also, the chance are so nervous right now.
If we win this series,
you guys can't win it. It's already over.
I mean, it is already over, but it's super over if we win.
I want to 5-0 these guys.
Stay high, bro. Once again, don't get antsy. That map's on me for getting free deaths.
No, we're doing.
Let's just slow down.
Come on, boys. Two more. If we're up 120 points, am I allowed? If it's like super late game, like 225, 130, am I allowed to assassinate someone?
Yeah.
I want to.
They're gonna be checked.
All right, let's go, bro. Cool, calm, and collected.
Yep.
This is the dagger map right here, bro. This is the dagger map.
And if you're Atlanta FaZe, you have fallen short in the grand finals in Vanguard so many times, and you are down 3-0. This is one of the only maps where you think you have a clear-cut advantage. They need to win this opening break.
Jump out mid. There's 2 mid. Drazah and someone else jumped out broken. Jumped out broken.
Are you dead?
Good job. Shaw's top broken. You're only missing one. Only missing one. Good job, Drazah. Good job. Good job.
Yeah, I'm waiting for Chris to die.
Mine flip, that was forward. Mine flip.
No, I don't think you did. I don't think you did.
I didn't think top broken.
Watch him. I got double native.
Slap. Close. Right here.
Short. MC, bro. MC. I push top. Could be top. Dead. I will have my own. I have my own short, Zach.
You one, right? Could be short.
No, all dead. Chris is old. Alec is front. Go map. Alex should be low well. He's on the stairs. Weak. He's gonna be close. Oh my God!
I need this.
I'm holding maps.
Top blue bar. I don't see any top blue bar.
Could be low.
Maps I need.
Oh my God! I'm out. Short that. I
gotta go to
yeah, we have it.
Another one there.
One more. Last.
I need it.
Oh my God! FaZe down! The Tyrants of Tuscan once again steal another big win. The Los Angeles Thieves are on championship point.
Let's go. One more. And this is our bro cage.
Holy, Zach's insane.
Let's go.
Zach's so Good.
We're not doing anything we do in practice. We have a break. We have a break. Go in the back.
Take it to account like the series, bro. We're up 4-0. They're gonna be making lose full ass plays. Like not let it work.
Map 5 here in our grand finals and potentially the last one here in the 2022 season.
That's a reverse sweep, and we gotta tweet out where the dog go.
That ass.
Yep. Where the dog go?
Dog's in us, man.
Dogs in us. That's where it is.
Go.
Go.
I'm gonna hold it from backside.
Just don't? Okay, Chris. I'm gonna go street then.
I'll go street. Well, yeah. I mean, I feel like you're more confident in it.
Nah, no, because they love putting out street.
I'll go street.
Like bottom house. Gate barrels. Nice gate barrels right now, Zach. I'm counting this guy, bro. Gate barrels stuck in the corner. He's stuck here.
He went to the street.
I got you.
Weak, hit twice. Nice. 2-1.
That's one. Try to watch.
I'm low left.
I'm looking at my push.
He was back left. He was back left before.
Okay.
Low left. He should be.
You can try to slide to A-bomb. Did you get him? Sam? Yes. I'm gonna run it. Sam.
Yeah, I would play for house.
Bait for the tank peek. I can push it.
He's there. Look for you.
Oh,
nice. Let's go, Zach.
Let's go.
Where's he at gate?
I'm trying to help you.
Gate, one shot. Kenny on B-bomb.
I'm B-bomb then.
Let's see which other team.
I'm gonna play this.
Back, keep tunnel. Get there, base.
Tunnel.
What's close to me?
I don't see this guy tunnel.
I need tunnel now.
Damn. Thought you had that. You're good.
On time. I never had street.
Nah, I just had to give it him.
Okay. Got this.
Nice. You're playing Simp.
Let's go.
Good. Let's go.
When his team needs him the most.
Nasty.
Let's go.
Let's get this.
Daddy Alec. They've called him for the longest of times.
Another tank still. Nice.
One might be lying right now.
You don't take one of the bomb. It's all you. Nice. He's playing Envoy. You know he's probably laying. He probably was.
I'll watch my right.
Oh! Let's go. Come on. Good shit.
Daddy
That's what I'm talking about.
What? A bounce back from FaZe.
Yes, sir.
See that shit?
3 more maps to tie it up. Let's go. That's literally 3 maps, bro. 3 maps. Let's get this.
LA Thieves fans certainly loving what they're seeing thus far. 4-1 is the score here in the grand finals. It's 1st to 5, so one more is all you need. Atlanta FaZe now prepare to go once again into Berlin.
He's playing off angle. He's helping.
He's behind me. I'm a street pinch.
Good job. Good job. Yep. I'm trying to go out of the door. Okay. Can I feel left?
Yes. Dice.
One shot there. Okay, one there. I'm turning around. One was there, okay? It was Kenny or Dylan.
He's still on Dice.
You're good, Zach. Play kills.
I'm full mid. I have everything. 2 shot 2.
You can shout them.
I
got dominated, bro. Nice. Weak game.
Okay, I'm depleted.
Yeah, I'm staying alive.
Yeah, I'm gonna jump out secret.
I'm one shot.
Out.
Nice.
One shot.
I think I'm mid.
Nice.
I thought.
Oh, he's all.
Nice. Let's go.
My bad. I got beat down.
You're good.
Oh, we're down 5. Okay.
He's D1
dead. Yo, lane up. Last. Get off.
One more B.
Sam dead.
Nice.
20 seconds. 1 second story. I'm not Drazah's glass steps.
I got outer.
Drazah's glass steps, okay?
I don't see him or outer.
I'm sorry.
Outer dead.
Drazah's glass steps. Drazah's weak glass steps. One's coming fire. He's front fire.
He's on point.
Let's get front fire. He was front fire. I spawned out. Good job, Buzz. Octane for Sky, okay? Yep, Octane for Sky.
I got Sam weak. There's 2.
Sam, watch it.
2 on me. Hang down.
Get inside.
Good.
Come on, let's go.
Do we break? Right?
I think so.
Yeah, we do. Let's go. You get this.
By the hairs on their chins, they huffed and they puffed and they blew the LA Thieves house right down.
Holy, bro, I'm really on these guys so bad, bro.
Love that.
2 more maps.
That's funnies right there, man. That's funnies.
Literally piss slamming.
We listen to each other. Insta break. Come on.
Let's go.
But to pull it off on Tuscan, not an easy task. In Atlanta, they are playing aggressive, aBeZy flying and frying.
Oh! What? Well, aBeZy, we'll see you later.
Dude,
Wanna jump down well? You someone want to jump the wall with me?
Dude, no.
Oh, no problem. That's a bad one.
Dude, I like jumped the roof and I like bounced off the the little you know the ramp that goes up the right side of the roof. I bounced off of it and went off the map.
I'm coming blue right now. Okay, I'm up. He was about mid second. Was about mid's open, Dill.
This is sensational stuff, and now for the immediate defuse. This is tremendous. And I hope it's
Zero
not happening.
ice.
No ice whatsoever.
This crowd has zero ice.
I think we're now 1-1.
We're in the ramp.
Thanks, brothers. Thanks. I heard that. I heard that.
And I think we will now ask the crowd in these tense moments when a defuse is coming through to please remain quiet. The players can hear you. Shut up.
Get side on arch. Get side on arch.
I got it. Yep, P5.
He's sitting there. He's just sitting P5, Chris. No bush in the door.
You can just run out of
There you go. You win this.
That's what I needed right there. Let's go. Good
job, Bill.
That was huge.
Archer top, one shot left. One shot. Dude, on me. I got one. Trapped on tree. Trapped on tree. Nice. There you are. I'm top blue, bro. With bomb. Bro, do some together. You guys are all split right now. I'm top blue. Go their side, Okay. Let's go. Right here. We win this.
It's round 11.
This is it. This is it.
Ring.
FaZe to stay alive. Here we go. Final round. The Galen Center is on its feet. The nerves are there. The tension is in the air. This is it.
Trying their tree or Chris, you want to hit through now?
No, we shouldn't give up A. You guys shouldn't.
No, I'm saying, does Chris want to hit through their side?
I'm down if you want to.
I'm about to try again.
Mid's open, okay? We're about to push there.
I don't see anything their side.
For a second. Nothing
Okay,
is.
They can be in you, aren't you guys, okay?
I
don't see him deep. I'm going.
I think they're working church. I'm just watching, like, your arms.
I don't see.
Back in the corner. I'm outside. Ran it back.
dead.
Nice.
I'm sorry.
He's on the truck still.
It's dead.
Truck dead.
And it's done! It's over! Daylight robbery! The LA Thieves have done it! They have run it up! They are your CDL champions! Against all odds, no one saw this coming. They peaked at the end of the season.
When I saw Kenny walk out with that bandana, I have never been more confident in a team.
For the first time in their careers, world champions. Back, come on! The best in the world!
The man from Alaska getting a little fired up after that big W as we revisit some of the greatest moments from last year. That was the closer to the season at the Grand Championship. LA Thieves, they take the title. ATL FaZe, they were all shocked. What was the moment for you like, though, Nameless? I want to know, what was it like in that venue?
It was crazy, man. It was electric, you know? Like, we were thinking headed into the series, like, Atlanta FaZe, they've been second all year long. Is it the story? Do they get the championship? But no, it was the LA Thieves who turns up there. And we're going to see them again later today for their debut here on this title, which is going to be very interesting.
Absolutely. Now, aLLeY, right now we're in a little bit of a pause. We are getting some rulings before we get into the next game, so we'll get this up and running as quickly as we can. But for anyone who missed the pre-show, because there's about 130,000 live in our Twitch chat right now, there's only 20K of you watching us at the start of the show. So let's hit them with the news, aLLeY, because we are all going to North Carolina in just 2 weeks, and this is set to be one of the biggest events in esports this year.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the biggest event. It's one of the earliest events we've ever had, as well as it is Pro-Am style, and there are other events going on at the same time. One of those events being the Call of Duty Mobile 2022 first in-person championship. So you can watch some CDL, you can watch some mobile, and you can watch some Code Bowl.
Yeah, you can watch the Code Bowl. It's our military esports teams with some of your favorite creators going at it on El Mazrah in some Warzone. It's basically going to be a Call of Duty bash there in North Carolina, but also the Pro-Am, a different format that we have this time around, Puckett. It's group play. These teams now, they will not be starting in losers bracket. It's going to be groups, and 4 of those teams in those groups are going to be amateur teams that make it into the play-in the day before our matches begin. So this is going to be an epic tournament.
In chat, I want to know, a lot of you are are Challengers players. I see you in the chat. I see you being noisy. Who are the threats right now, and who's in the league from Challengers? Who are the success stories, aBeZy?
The success stories across the board, I mean, you got to look at the academy teams, right? So a lot of these academy teams with their substitute players have found a lot of success heading in from last year who are actually main on starting rosters this year. Spart is a good example of that. He was a player that came up from Challengers, was a sub on LAG, proved himself just as a sub, went back down to Challengers, found success, and is now on top of a main roster. So I know there's Boston Breach Academy, there's LAG Academy, who's been seriously lighting up the season last year, winning a bunch of cups, and now heading into this year, they have the same roster as well, and I've heard nothing but good things.
All right, and Nameless, do you think anyone could get scouted at this event and moved into a sub position? Do you poach this early in the season?
Well, I mean, possibly, right? If your team starts off struggling. I know that there is a player on Boston Academy that has been lighting it up. He's been the talk of the town, and that has been Beans. This guy is disgusting. But for Boston, I don't think they'll be bringing anybody in. They looked absolutely ridiculous in their debut match.
Look out for Magic Beans in Raleigh, ladies and gentlemen. Let's take a look once again at what's going down. We've got the Call of Duty Mobile Championships. We have the Call of Duty Endowment Bowl. And, of course, we have our Pro-Am. It's all going down December 15th to the 18th in Raleigh, North Carolina. Join us live. Get your tickets. They're on sale right now. And you know they're going to go quick. A lot to talk about, and of course, most of it is around this new game. We're going to see it played live in Raleigh, but we're also going to be playing after the broadcast. So what are your two takeaways after seeing about 5 maps officially complete at this point, aBeZy? What did you think about our first matchup, and what do you want to bring into your own game when you get back on the sticks?
Bring into my own game, Chris. I'm playing this game every single day, and honestly, if I am going to take one thing, it might be that offensive break on Fortress that we 100%. Saw from the Boston Breach. I mean, they were just jumping out of top maps and bottom maps and just trying to play for that trade to make sure they didn't get stuck in spawn. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to go in voice chat and convince my CDL Mosh Pit teammates to do that with me, but I will do my hardest.
I'll tell you what I'm going to take. I'm going to take some of them strategies that I saw Minnesota Røkkr have on that search and destroy. That was a beautifully played S&D, the different sort of tactics that they were using, you know, on defense, trying to get that pick with the sniper. And then when they did show face with the sniper and back OpTic down, we saw them taking control of the middle map. It was just wonderfully played. And, you know, for Minnesota Røkkr, if you had any doubts about their search and destroy, you got answered right there.
A lot of games still to go, and we're going to check out, of course, is everyone running the M4s? What subs are they bringing out, and what is the strategy so far? A big upset as Boston Breach was able to take the first matchup against ATL FaZe. Everyone knows that FaZe has been one of the strongest teams in the CDL since its inception. Boston Breach, a lot of question marks. After watching them open up today, what did you learn about Boston?
I learned that they are coming to play this season. I mean, I've heard a lot that they've been having some seriously long days at the Boston Breach camp. I know I saw some players say they aren't getting home until about 8, 9, 10 p.m. EST. And so the work is really going in over on that side. On the flip side of things, though, I do want to talk about the Atlanta FaZe. It seems they're having a little bit of a continuation from last year. Even though they had the swap out from Slasher, from Arcides, they still can't close it out. I feel like that's something Atlanta FaZe has been struggling with, is when they are comfortable and they are in the lead, they are fine. But the second the game gets close, especially in search and destroy, they start to panic a little bit. And I saw that in the hardpoint as well, as they just started solo challenging once the game got a little bit out of hand, and it was just body after body flying to the hell. And that's why we saw, even on that embassy, even though they were able to take that first map, the second, Boston kind of got a couple kills their way, got 4 to 5 kills straight. Atlanta FaZe, instant panic. It was solo chow after solo chow after solo chow until they finally got a wipe. So I think Atlanta FaZe still has a little bit of mental checking to do to slow their game down and chill out.
Don't rely on the gunny as much as you may have been able to do in the past. This one moves a little bit slower, and you got to work with your squad. Nameless, let's talk a little bit about this Atlanta team, though. Is this just a one-off? Is this you're going to take your first bump, but you're going to come back stronger than ever in your second match? Or are there legit concerns for this team? I know we've only seen 4 maps from
Yeah, sure. No, there's concerns because there were some glaring mistakes, like game knowledge mistakes. You know, people are still learning about this game, optimal setups, how far you can push up. But that mistake that they made on HyDra was game-changing, right? You can't have 3 players pushed all the way up past the half map, 1 player in the hill, and they spawned the team behind them. Like, that's unacceptable. They didn't even turn around to look at the spawn. So, granted, it is the first match. You're going to learn. You're going to see these things like, okay, we're never going to do that again. And I have full faith in Atlanta FaZe to be able to turn that around. But it definitely is concerning to see, like, Boston Breach, a team that definitely doesn't have the chemistry that you have on Atlanta FaZe, outclassing you and outplaying you strategically this early on.
When I was looking for the pluses and minuses, just the KD numbers, Owakening always dropping some big bombs in this one. He seemed to be the difference maker for the breach. Atlanta FaZe, though, seemed like a solid slaying squad. So is this a team that you can lose the slaying battle and still win the respawn against?
No, absolutely. And I feel like this game is going to be a testament to that all year. I mean, we talked about, again, at the beginning of that map 1. It was Nero who's really struggling to get on his feet. But at the end of the day, it was only about a 40-point game. And then Boston went on to win the rest of the series. So KD might not matter this much in this game because you got to start rotating at like 30 to almost 40 seconds. That is how crazy these spawns and these spawn traps can get when it comes to these teams.
Yeah, you know, looking at the series as well, like even on the side of Boston Breach, some things that they could improve upon. Like I'm thinking about that map when Embassy, like on Kitchen Hill, they just completely ignored the backside. Like, and FaZe just kept flooding through orange, going around the back, getting control. It's like these teams are going to go back, watch, and fix some of these issues they're having in Hardpoint because in game it can get a little bit chaotic in this game on some of the hills, depending on where the spawns are going to be. So the spawn manipulation, I expect it to improve out of everyone.
And I love hearing from the players themselves. Methodz like, I didn't know what to expect from Atlanta. We heard they were playing good. We didn't really see it for ourselves. Well, tonight you found out you can hang and you can pull off a W if you get some star performances from your new player, Wake, like he did today. So Boston Breach is up 1-0. Our second series is still underway. OpTic Texas taking on Minnesota Røkkr, and this is just the first half of the show. Ladies and gentlemen, we have 4 matches on all 3 of our opening days here for opening weekend. Little bit later, we see Vegas Legion versus the LA Thieves, followed by Los Angeles Guerrillas versus Seattle Surge. Allie, we now have a little bit of extra time while we're still waiting on our refs to sort everything out. So this is your opportunity to explain to the people why you thought this 6 o'clock match is the banger on the docket tonight, Vegas versus LA.
It is way past 6 o'clock, Chris, so maybe this might end up being our 7:30 match, but I will have to say, so my explanation for the Vegas Legion, I almost slipped up there, and the Los Angeles Thieves is, again, I said at the beginning, it was a team that has everything to lose and a team that has nothing to lose. So again, the Vegas Legion are coming off a very unfavorable last year, but when I say that sometimes we felt it in our bones that maybe they were going to pull out something special. Their very last game of the season was a Game 5 against Atlanta FaZe, who was talked about as the best team last year, you know, most consistent across the board, 2nd overall. It was just like they could almost do it. They could almost close it out. And then the LA Thieves obviously are back-to-back champions. High hopes heading into this game. They seem to have figured out their game plan when they brought into that new coach in the middle of the season because they were already good at Hardpoint, and then they cleaned up their S&D, went back-to-back. Their egos are high, right? They're feeling comfortable right now heading into this game. You can get complacent in that situation. So I'm not really hoping for that. I hope they're not complacent and still putting in the work that they put in last year. But when it comes to a team like Legion, who has nothing to lose, and this is their first matchup of the season against the defending champs, there is no better game to win and start off from a season like last year than today.
If we closed out day 1 with Boston and Vegas at the top of the leaderboard, my mind would be blown. Another squad, though, that you both picked here was Minnesota in this matchup against OpTic Texas. We have seen a few games. This match is still underway. Nameless, though. Give me the breakdown so far. Are you liking your pick with Minnesota, or are you a little worried that this might be OpTic series?
No, I think this has been a very close series. I mean, a couple plays away from Minnesota potentially closing out that map 1, but we saw Shotzzy making huge plays to get the spawns for them on Generator Hill, and then also Shotzzy picking up like the long routes that we saw out of Bance on that map. Players underwater, it was always Shotzzy. He was just making plays, and then that search and destroy was masterclass on Minnesota, sort of what we expect. And then in that control, OpTic played great in that last round, but also I like what we saw out of Minnesota on their defenses. Like, how you win that is you get a player pushed up to be a nuisance on your side of the base. Well, every time Minnesota would just drop back, if there's a guy on their side, they're like, okay, just watch the exits. He will show us himself at some point, and we'll pick up that kill. So very much they played it patient, exactly how you should play it, and it was working out more oftentimes than not. So it's been a close battle back and forth.
Absolutely, and I want to give a big shout out to all of the fans. This is opening day. There are always some bumps along the road as we get things up and running to start the season. So thank you for your patience, and a big shout out to the admins who are working on this right now. They've been in touch with both teams. We're talking through everything, and I'm told a ruling should be coming in shortly. That's the reason this game hasn't started. It's not that we don't want to start it. We want to make sure the players are playing the right standards from the get-go, right out of the gates. Let's talk about this last match, though. Seattle Surge, Los Angeles Guerrillas. I'm looking at arcties versus accuracy here. Is there another individual fight you're looking forward to as we close out the night on day 1?
I don't know about individual fights, but I'm just looking at Neptune. You know, again, a shaky season last year with the New York Subliners, you know, some internal issues, some gameplay issues, but then he went to Challengers and he still found success. So I'm hoping, you know, he kind of treated it as a learning experience, like I'm going to come back better, I'm going to come back stronger, like I still deserve to be in the league. Well, now he has his chance, and he's surrounded by some incredible players. He's surrounded by Spart. Again, we're talking about the MVP last year in Major 2 as a sub. Again, a sub, no practice. They went on to win that, one of the craziest search and destroy runs of, I think, the CDL season so far. 100%. And then we talk about, now he has Arcides. He has a world champ veteran next to him. I mean, this squad
don't sleep on aLLeY.
Should be set up for success. Am I the biggest fan of this squad? No. But on paper, should be absolutely set up for success.
What would it take for them to win you over?
Winning this match.
Just this match.
This match,
I like it.
I just have to see them. I haven't seen anything yet, and I want to see it.
Here's your opportunity to earn one. You're going to have to take down the Seattle Surge, though, and tell me why this team is dangerous. We looked across all of the stats. Looks like a lot of predictions have them again in the top 3.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at Seattle Surge, just like the meta in this game just fits their team so well. I feel like Pred is just that guy who's going to get up close and personal and be super annoying. I got to watch a little bit of Seattle scrims, and, you know, the way that Pred plays, it is so frustrating to play against. Like, if you get out on aBeZy control, for example, like, Pred is going to be that guy you have to hunt down. And more often times not, he's going to get the kill on you as well for the 2-piece. So Seattle, everybody on this team individually is playing well. They have a good system. They have accuracy who's going to hold everybody accountable. A good culture over on that Seattle team.
All right, as we close out this segment, I want to give a big shout out to everyone in the chat right now. I see Red Panda. We got Kwoo, Lucas ABR. We got Mange, Jay Kirchi, Earthworm Gem, and a whole lot more fun names that I'm not allowed to say out loud. Thank you for all being here. It's the opening night of the CDL 2023 season. When we come back, we'll get that ruling too, and we'll get the games kicked up once again. Don't go anywhere. OpTic versus Minnesota when we come back. What's up, you gorgeous gamers? It's Puckett back here with you, Twitch chat. And I just wanted to give you a quick update. We are talking with our admins, and they, of course, are still discussing things with the teams. You may have seen a bunch of stuff on social media, but this match is not done. It is not in the books quite yet. We will get that official ruling to you as soon as we have it. Once again, we apologize for the delay, and we'll continue with the Call of Duty League as soon as we can. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back into the studio. Chris Bucket alongside aLLeY, Cat, and Nameless. And I have a quick message here from our Comp Ops team. This is the official ruling, so thank you for your patience. This is what went down. There was a bug at the end of round 5 of Control. Due to the bug, the Minnesota player couldn't do anything, so the official ruling was to replay the round. Now, OpTic opted not to participate, so Minnesota wins that round and the map. So that was your Game 3 done. After that, OpTic also elected not to continue the match. So this is Minnesota's win. So what that means is now after 2 matches in the CDL to kick off the season, Boston Breach and Minnesota Røkkr are sitting at 1-0. We have Atlanta FaZe and OpTic at 0-1, and we're about to see another juggernaut face off against another underdog. The Vegas, yes, that's right, no longer the Paris, the Vegas Legion are taking on the LA Thieves. This was the matchup aLLeY called to be the series of the day, potentially the closest or a huge blowout. aLLeY, why do you think this could be close, though?
Again, I think it's because, again, Vegas Legion have so much to prove, and also because of Temp. Temp last year still managed to keep himself in like the top 10 overall KDs, despite being on a team that just could not pull out a win. It was like unfortunate loss after unfortunate loss, and now he has some serious players on his side with TJ, who also has a lot to prove, a player that is often overlooked in the likes of his playstyle in his previous lives on OpTic Texas and on the Boston Breach. So two of these players, a lot to go for, as well as Clayster on this Paris Legion, Vegas Legion, that's going to be difficult. Vegas Legion squad. Clay has been talking about how excited he is heading into this game, and I mean, look, oh wow, yeah, he's getting warmed up.
And then talking about Vegas for a second, you know we always talk about Scump's last dance? Yeah. This could be Clay's last dance as well this year. You know, this guy's up there.
And here's what he had to say, taking his social media